Okay, we created a resource group. Inside the resource group, we created an app service plan. We need to create a web app. Instead of that random name, we'll take some name from here only. Again, there was a power cut. Okay, we'll check some name over here. Okay, eShop on web, say YAML. Okay, this works. I'll copy this. Now it will create the app, web app. Maybe it was not reading out the variables due to two times like we had power loss. So maybe there might be some issues. So now it created a web app. Okay. This is the web app. Okay. This is the web app. Now I'll go back to the pipeline section and we'll try to create a pipeline here. For the build, we will take the CI pipeline as it is. Go to Azure Repos, get our repository, one existing pipeline that will be CI, continuous integration. Now, last time we modified some things in the CI pipeline. So what we'll do, we'll take the original one from our repository. This was the Git repository. In the Git repository, if we go to ADO folder and the CI one, CI, the main file is like this. What we did in the last classes, so we just made some changes, like we included the trigger and all. So what I'll do, I'll just replace that changes, and whatever was the original pipeline, I'll take that without any trigger or anything. It will just create a build for us. We'll save this pipeline. We'll rename it. And we'll run it. So it will follow the same steps what we like are performing from a quiet time. Okay. It will build the code. Check out repository, restore, build, test, publish. Once it is done, we'll start editing the pipeline. Okay. Voice is not coming. Is it for everyone or it is okay?
Audible.
Please do not join from phone. Okay.
Hi, Abhishek.
Yes.
I'm having one doubt.
Mm-hmm.
This resource groups and which all resources we are creating in Azure portal.
Mm-hmm.
So when we are working in an organization, so this thing as a DevOps engineer we will do, or we have to do the re request for creating these resources because
So
we
you
will.
will be only creating the infra resources as a DevOps engineer.
Okay. So we will have the access of the portal also, right? Like Azure portal.
Yes.
Okay.
Or if you are in a big organization, like very big organization where DevOps is handled separately. Like in my organization, DevOps team is a separate team. They raise requests to us to create infrastructure.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So in that case, then you have to raise request. Otherwise, you are the whole sole owner of everything.
Okay.
The organization is not that much MNC or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the pipeline. Two artifacts are generated, the same two artifacts which we are used to see, like in the last jobs as well. If you go to build, these two are the artifacts, where first artifact is your bicep and second one is your web.zip, which will be deployed into the app service, which is created by this web.bicep. Okay. Now we'll go to edit this pipeline. From this stage, from this stage, copy from this stage. Okay. Till steps. Copy it. Next line, enter, paste. Instead of build here, write deploy. Second stage. So deploy to Azure web app, suppose. Where you want to deploy? Deploy to Azure web app. Jobs. So here, deploy job. Again, we will be needing an agent. Suppose here we are using Ubuntu latest. Doesn't matter what agent you can use Windows latest here. No issues. If you want, you can change it to Windows latest as well. Or you can go with what it is. Windows hyphen latest. You can use this. Or whatever they are been using in the pipeline, you can use this as well. Or you can use your self-hosted agent as well. So this is the agent. Then comes to steps. We'll go to the new line here. In the steps part, we have to deploy. So there is a task. There is a task. Azure app service deploy. We'll check that task. We'll add the Azure Resource Manager will perform the connection. Azure subscription. This is our service connection, which will connect to the portal. Web app on Windows. The name of the web app will appear here. Why it is failing to query? Hmm. Not loading. Let me close everything. Deploy. Job is deploy. Display name deploy to Azure Web App. Stage deploy. Pool, let it be the same. Uh, Now here we can add steps. So Azure App Service Deploy. Sometimes this happens. It does not read. Ah, this is the one. Okay. It's reading out now. Now the system default working directory will change that star.zip to web.zip. And this will become from system default working directory. We are downloading the artifact. So where is the artifact? It is in the build directory. Okay. Now what are these directories? This dollar, actually these are predefined variables. Okay. Predefined variables in Azure DevOps. Okay. So these are some paths. Now where these paths are? So these paths are with the agent. These paths are with the agent. Okay. So if you go to predefined variables here, it will show you a list of those predefined variables. See, agent.build directory. Now it's a pipeline workspace and it is referring to some this folder inside what? Inside the agent. Inside the agent, there might be some home, there might be some VSTS, work and one like this. Home agent home directory, C/agent, that is agent home directory. So these are some predefined variables. Okay. These work for what? Actually the agent, inside the agent. Okay. Similar way, there is a build artifact staging directory. Okay. So if you see build artifact staging directory, this is the build artifact staging directory. And what is the path? So path is C under the C. C where? C inside the agent. Now, whatever agent you are using, if you are using self-hosted agent, then you can check if you are using self-hosted agent in your local, like we used earlier, okay, while creating an agent. So I showed you the path inside that. Inside C, there is a work folder. then there is one, then there is S folder, which is source code. Similar way, there is a S where is the source code, and there is a folder, like folder named A. A means artifacts. So after the build, wherever the artifacts are stored, so this is the path. This is the default path of that agent inside the agent. So they have used some predefined variables. So if you use this, that means the path is this here. So at the time of build, where will the artifact will get collected? So it will be collected in the build pipeline. So if you can see here, there is a build source directory. So build source directory means from where the build is there. And build staging directory means where you will stage your builds. Okay, well, you will put your artifacts, which is coming through the build. But here in the package folder, they are mentioning default working directory, and you are about to add a task that is app service deploy. So app service deploy will definitely download the build from somewhere. So from where it will download that build? So it will download that build. Which build? Under the website, it is generating artifact. What artifact it is generating? It is generating web.zip. Okay, web.zip. Since you have web.cs project is the project folder, so the artifact generated is web.zip. And in .NET, zip files are being created as an artifact. Okay, and they are deployed to the desired environment. So now what is the target path here? Build.artifact staging directory. So from where you will download the artifacts? So from here you will download the artifact, build.artifact staging directory. So what you need to do is that you need to mention it here that we are downloading it from here. So instead of build.default working directory, you have to mention build.artifact working staging directory. Means where the artifact are staged, where they are kept. Okay. Instead of star, what was the artifact you were using? So we were using web.zip. That was the artifact which is generated in the pipeline. So we just saw two artifacts over there, web.zip and webapp.bicep, right? So out of that, we need to use this one. So this will get downloaded. Okay. This will get be used, or this will be deployed in this web app. Some application settings need to be set here. Kudu settings basically in the web app. Okay. So you can set these Kudu settings. So use only in memory database. I'll copy that from here just to avoid some mistakes. Okay. And this is the are basically the Kudu settings. Okay. I'll mention here. After adding all these things, you will add the task. The task is being wrongly added here. Was this line where we need to add the task. Azure app service deploy subscription web app build dot artifact staging directory web dot zip, and then application settings from here. Add the task. Now the task has been added at the right place. Once the task is added here, there is one more thing. So this is the deployment task actually. This is the deployment task. What we need to do is that we need to first download the artifact, then only it will be fetched by this task. So one more task needs to be added below this, and that is download. Download what? Build artifact. You have to download the build artifact. From where you will download? From the current build. So current build, download type, specific artifact, artifact name, right? Website. Okay, under the website we have web.zip. We'll use website. And destination directory, where you need to download it. So not in the system artifact directory. We need to use again build artifact staging directory. Build hyphen, oh sorry, build dot artifact staging directory. Instead of artifacts, will be artifact staging directory. So build dot artifact staging directory. Here you need to download it. Click on add the task. And a task is adding, a download task is added here. Current build, single under website. In the download path is build dot. From this path we need to download build dot artifact staging directory. Once it is downloaded, it can be used to be deployed in the web app. If you face any errors here like this, so these lines, error lines are the indentation. Okay, indentation is not proper actually. What you need to do, just do one thing. Select from where you are getting indentation issues. Press tab 2 times. 1, 2. Okay. You have to take this down from this. Just a minute. Okay. Mm, okay. So you have to press tab 2 times for clearing out the indentation. Or you can, if you can set by yourself, you can set it. Okay. Indentation means these tasks should come under this step. Step should come under job. Okay, job should come under jobs. And job should come under stage. Stage should come under stages. Like this. You need to set the indentation. If the indentation is not proper, you will not be able to save the pipeline as well. Now we'll save it. Validate and save. Save it. And we'll run the pipeline. Use the pipeline. Run pipeline. Now there will be two stages. See, this is build stage, this is deploy stage. Currently build is going on.
Abhishek, the artifacts which we are downloading the task,
Mhm.
so we are downloading so that artifacts can be used in the next task for deployment, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So next
So
stage, in the next stage, the job will be needing that artifact. So from one stage to the next stage, you have to transfer those artifacts. So
Mhm.
the task will be download the artifact. Once they are downloaded, they will be downloaded to the build artifact staging directory. Staging means where you are placing those artifacts. Okay. So that is actually a predefined path somewhere inside the agent from where these are all
Okay.
picking all these things. So those
Okay.
predefined variables are these
Mhm.
here. Okay. I you can follow this like while you are working, you can follow this document. If you face any
So
issue.
in the verbose, we can check everything, right? Like
Yes, yes,
what is
yes,
the
yes.
command running in the
Verbose it will
backend?
show. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So if you go to the pipeline run as well, now it will show you from where it is picking, what is the path. Suppose you come to checkout. So checkout, in the
Mhm.
checkout, what they are doing, they are downloading it. Where they are downloading. So everything it you will be able to see.
Okay.
This is completed. You come here. This is the path. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Here it is. Process two files from this path successfully. So here it is showing you the path. There you have to mention it as a predefined variable, that path.
Okay.
Now comes to the deploy stage. It is just checking for the agent.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Instead of here giving the agent as we give the agent a self-hosted agent.
Mhm.
Deployment will be like the process fast, like if agent is always available for pipeline or
Uh, like organizations do think like that. Agent is fast, but I feel that cloud will be able to provide you more faster solutions than your uh, on premise. But yeah, if you are willing to, you can say, shorten the time for the build or deployment, then you can use high-end machines basically. High-end means performance oriented. So if you are using performance oriented machines, then definitely you can go for self-hosted because those will be faster. Azure might be using some basic machine, not basic, but you can say some medium machines for running these builds. But if you want a really fast response or build time or something, then you can go with performance oriented machine like compute optimized machine. Okay. But definitely there will be a charge increase in the charge for that as well.
and to have a connection between the DevOps and the Azure portal when we create the pipeline.
Mhm.
This in the resource group is mandatory to have a connection to create the resource group or without
See,
resource group
you will
we
be
can
creating a resource group because whatever service connection or service principal you will deploy to make a connection to the portal, you have to ultimately provide some contributor permission to the this service connection or service principal on that particular resource group in order to deploy the resources.
we mean to say that resource group is needed to have a connection, right?
Come again?
Uh, Creating a resource group is mandatory. Make a
Risk
connection
is
between.
mandatory, like because somewhere you will deploy. You cannot deploy directly into the subscription. You need a resource group for that.
And Abhishek, the things which we are doing manually, creating the resource group and service principal. So, but if we want to automate all the tasks and jobs which we are doing in the pipeline, so is it possible like from pipeline only we will create the service principal?
Yes, definitely. See, here in this pipeline, you might have seen two artifacts here, no? So if you go to the artifact section, you go to build. In the artifact section, there are two artifacts. Where are those? Hmm. Okay, let me go to the build number. Click on two artifacts. These are two artifacts. So you can see that first artifact here is webapp.zip. So I just downloaded this one. If I download this one as well, which we will see in coming class, okay, if we download this as well, then first this will deploy the web app bicep. This will use a bicep file to deploy the web app, and then this one will be used to get deployed into this app service, which is deployed by the bicep. So what you are doing, you are deploying the infrastructure also using the artifact only. So there is a bicep file which is taken as an artifact in the staging directory, and that artifact, that bicep file is used to deploy the infrastructure first, and then the other artifact will be get deployed into that infrastructure, means web app. Just like you saw in GitHub, like in GitHub we created the pipeline now. So
Mhm.
there, how we deployed through webapp.bicep only. There we didn't deploy it manually.
Okay. So, but whenever we want to get connected with the Azure portal, so
Mhm.
manually what we are doing, we are creating a service principal because
Yes,
DevOps want to get connected with the portal, right?
yes.
So, but now if suppose the interviewer will ask, no, I don't want to create a service principal manually. Now you tell me like how you will create the service principal using pipeline only. So the question comes like for creating a service principal, we need to run the Azure CLI command, right? And Azure CLI commands will be whenever we are opening a portal.
Mhm.
So in that CLI is already integrated.
Mhm.
But when we are coming in DevOps pipeline, so
Mhm.
first we need to connect to the Azure CLI. So
Mhm.
once Azure CLI is connected, after that we will able to execute the commands like whatever command we have executed, like AZAD.
Azure CLI is a part of an integrated access to the portal. It is extending its access to the portal. There are three processes using which we can connect to the portal. One is portal itself, the UI. Second one is CLI. So CLI already having an access to the portal. Okay, you don't need any specified connection for the CLI to connect to the portal. CLI is already identified as a, you can say, connection to the portal. It is integrated to the portal already.
Yes, yes, correct.
If you go and now check here, your go to the resource group, check the web app, browse it. Application is deployed here. But now again, there are two things here. If I go to pipeline again, and if I'll edit it again, so there are no approvals as of now. Suppose this is not deployed into the development. This is deployed into the production. Then you may need some kind of like it will be kind of a continuous delivery and not continuous deployment. So to make it is a continuous delivery and not continuous deployment, then it is needed that you need to have some environment variables in the form of approvals. So if you see here, there is an option called environments here. Environments. Create one environment here. Name it. Okay. So let's name that environment is approvals. Approvals. I'll not select anything as of now in the resources. You can make use of environment for deploying into the Kubernetes for virtual machines. Okay, any of the resources. Or you can mention the resources later. So you can choose none. So since we are not using any specific resource like Kubernetes or virtual machine, which are only identified or added to this environment section. So we have a web app. So we will go with none as of now, since we'll be defining it later. Okay, I'll create this approval. In the approvals, go to approvals and checks. You can add resource here as well, other resources for approvals. But as of now, my interest is in approvers actually, who will approve this. Okay. So in the approvals section, you can see there are approvers here. You can check the name of any of the approvers from your group or team, web team, dev team, whatever team you are. Okay. You can add the specified number of users who will be getting an email to approve this before getting deployed as an environment check. Okay. And click on create. So one approver is added. You can add as many number of approvers as you want. Now you have to go to pipeline again. You have to go to pipeline, go to YAML, edit that pipeline. After adding, you need to go to the deploy. Okay. So where is the deploy job? Deploy job is here. This is the deploy job. So hyphen job is deploy here. So we'll add one line below this, and that will be like environment. Okay. Since we have mentioned in the settings, okay, so we have to mention in the call in the pipeline as well. So what is the name of the environment? Approvals. We are given the name approvals. So now, as the environment is a specific environment, so instead of job and deploy, so we will take this as what kind of deployment you are going for. So we'll mention instead of job, we'll go for the deployment, and the deployment name is deploy, which will be approved by the approvers in the environment. Okay. And then here we'll mention as strategy. Okay. So mention the strategy. Inside the strategy, run once. So run once. And inside this what you want to run? I want to run the deploy. Okay. Deploy. And now steps will come here. Now you can see there is an indentation problem here. So steps are coming this. Wherever like the step should come like after this. Okay. So now what I'll do, I'll select this whole two times, two times. So I press tab 4 times, like, and you can see there was an indentation problem here, which is gone now. Since now it is coming under proper indentation. Now this is the pipeline here. Now I'll commit, like validate and save. Pipeline is valid. You can save it and you can run your pipeline. Now if you will run your pipeline, go to the pipeline and run your pipeline. Now at the time of deploy, it will shoot a mail after the build, okay, that it is needed to approve. Once, because the build is completed, you need to approve to deploy the same into the development environment or any environment which is mentioned.
So Abhishek, that environment is basically being created to deploy or give the approval.
Come again.
The environment which we are creating, so that is being created for like dev broad for that kind of thing, or just for giving an approval to deploying the environment like products.
Just for approval for giving the like you can say giving approval to the deployment.
Okay. So first we have to take one like environment, and in that environment, if we want to deploy something, so for that approval, we need that, right?
Yes. So if you add environment approval, then it is not a job. Then you are performing a kind of a deployment. So that's why you need to change the property or root property. We call actually whatever we were editing in the file, we call them as a root property of the YAML. Okay. So there we were using the root property of the YAML as -job. The job was to deploy. So when we added the environment variables, the property, the root property is changed now. Okay. So now it becomes deployment. So instead of job, we need to use the deployment root property. Instead of job property, we will be using deployment root property. So from where it will get the instructions of the deployment. So it is getting the instructions of the deployment from that environment section where the users are, like approvers are there actually. Okay. So it will go and check for the approvers, and whosoever will be the approver, it will give his approval or her approval and it will go ahead. So that is the meaning of that particular root property. Okay. Now here it is pending, but it will send an email. Maybe in free case it will not send. I'm not sure, but I think it will send. Okay, it should send. If it would be, it would have mentioned in the default subscription, notification subscription, then it should send. Otherwise, you have to create a subscription, notification subscription, and make sure that it should send an email. to your superior who will approve. Okay. So maybe I think as of now, as a free tier, it will not send. Permission needed from environment section, approvers, permit.
So this thing basically we can convey as continuous delivery because manual
Yes,
intervention is there.
because manually you are approving it.
Yes, yes. So in organization, Abhishek, like everything is automated, or some things will be there, like which we need, in which we need the manual intervention. Because in my project, there were lots of manual intervention.
Definitely, they will have manual intervention everywhere. See, what are the options you can have? Reject, approve, defer the approval. Okay, if you want to wait for some time, you need to take some opinions, or like you can defer the approval for some time. Okay, I'll straightway approve here. So we are not getting notifications as a part of free tier. That's why. See, in GitHub, we got the notification when we deployed in the GitHub, review for pending deployment. So there it is not needed for sending the notification in the GitHub. They do not need any kind of free tier, or for free tier also they give that option, like you will be getting the email. So we got the email for GitHub's CI/CD pipeline, but here we did not get it. So it is not the part of the default subscription to send an email over here, notification. You need to subscribe it. Okay. Then only it will send. So it is deployed here. This is how you can work with YAML file, modify a YAML file according to your need. Okay. You can follow this lab once and then you can try it later whenever you will be working at your organization level or anywhere. And this environment approval section, this can be asked in the interview. Okay. So please note it down. I have been asked many times. Okay. So this will be asked.
Abhishek, can you explain it once again, whenever we're changing the property from jobs to deployment. So how means we can convey that? Like if suppose you're asking me like what is the difference between them? Because in jobs we haven't used the manual intervention, but when we want to use the manual intervention, we have changed the property. So how means
See,
how we can
earlier, whenever you are working with continuous deployment, the root property here used was job. Okay. Root property here used was job. When you are heading to get some kind of manual approvals, so you need to define them first in the environment here. So you will create an environment variable and you will define. Suppose we need to define the approvers. You need to define the approvers. Generally, in organization, approvals and checks will be taken in account for some kind of deployments in some resource. Suppose we are adding a resource here that we need to deploy into this resource. So some approver might approve that yes, this can be deployed in this resource. This is first thing. Second, resource is already created, okay, and it is approved. Everyone knows this is the resource, and we have been deployed in that resource multiple times, suppose. So now no need of adding here. Just as a part of approvals and process, you can add approvers. Once you add approvals or approvers in the environment approvals, whatever the name you will give over here, doesn't matters. Okay, we have given approvals. So as soon as you are abiding that deployment based on the approvals, what you need to do is that you need to go back to the pipeline and you need to mention that. Because if you mention only environment variables in this section and not in the pipeline, how will pipeline come to know that there are variables and someone needs to approve it? Okay. So then you need to go to the pipeline and you have to mention that environment variable. Actually, we are calling here. We are calling that environment variable which we have set. So when we call this environment approval, this is not no more a job now. This is no more a job. It becomes a deployment, which is based on the environment approvals. So instead of job, now this job, whatever job we are using, this is a root property. This job is a root property. This stage is a root property. Pool, root property. Okay, all these are root properties. So we need to make changes in the root properties, basically, of the YAML. So instead of job, we will mention that it is no more a job now. It becomes a deployment. Since environment variables are involved here. So now what kind of deployment? So we are performing a deploy over here. So instead of job, mention deployment over there. And you have to follow some strategies. Actually, what are these strategies? So strategies, there are different strategies like rolling strategy. What is a rolling strategy basically? Already an application is deployed. Version 1 is there. We are deploying version 2. So what is rolling strategy here? Rolling means until and unless the new version is deployed, please do not stop the last one. That is a rolling strategy. Rolling means the deployment should be in the rolling form. Should be not be like that one application is stopped and then after some time the second will come up. No, rolling means one is running, everyone is using it until and unless the second is up and running, we will not stop the last one. Okay, that is called rolling strategy. So since we are deploying, this is not a kind of application which we are deploying second or third time or any kind of version. This we are just deploying one time, like first time we are deploying. So the strategy I have used here in the root properties is run once. Got it?
Yes, Abhishek.
Okay.
So
And
this,
what is that strategy from where it is coming? So it is coming from deploy, this deploy. Where is this deploy? It is mentioned in the deployment root property. Okay. And now under this deploy, these steps will get executed. Download the
oh,
artifact, deploy it into the Azure web app, like this.
so when it comes to the deployment thing, so we can say like that when we're doing the CI part, their job plays a role. But when we come to the deployment part, so instead of job, that can we
Only
will
a
change that
only a
argument.
question will be asked. Do you know what is environment? Why we use that? You just need to tell that it is a kind of a manual intervention which we make sure that for making it as a continuous delivery and not as a continuous deployment, because in continuous deployment there are no manual approvals, but in continuous delivery process, like we are delivering something, a next version into the production anywhere, so it is mandatory to have that environment approval section. So this we can perform through the environment section, where under the pipeline section there is an environment section, there we can mention it. uh, this can be simply be answered like this, nothing else.
Oh,
Okay.
yes, sir, got it.
And please make sure when you are practicing, learn these things. Okay. Just 3-4 lines of this. Why I am telling you, if someone should write to or you write the syntax for environment approval. So do not blindly copy this thing. Do not blindly copy. Okay. Accordingly copy. If he says we are deploying the second version, you can ask the questions. Definitely, are we deploying the first version only? Okay, or we are deploying the second version or third version? Accordingly, the strategy will come here. Okay, if he says no, we are deploying a second feature, second version, then the strategy will come like rolling. Okay, instead of run once. Okay. But if he says, no, we are freshly deploying an application, then definitely run once. So what we need to do, if he asks to write a syntax, then just we need to give this syntax. That's it. From here till here. Okay. Just this syntax you need to give, nothing else. If they ask to write it, 80%, 85% chances they will not ask, but if they ask, okay.
Okay, okay. And in the right side, before run, Abhishek, we are having the variables, right?
Yes,
So whenever we were learning that CI Docker, so in the topmost part, we have manually defined the variables. So instead of writing the YAML file, can we put and place everything inside this variable tabs, which is in the right side,
correct. This
and we
one,
can call from there. Topmost before run.
yes,
This one.
yes, yes.
We can
So
keep those variables here, no?
yes, yes. And
Uh,
actually, in a general pipeline, we do not we not call the variables inside the pipeline. Instead of, we are calling at the time of run. So calling at the time of run means whenever you run the pipeline, here there will be some variables. Okay. So pipeline will be common for all. Pipeline will be common for all. Just you need to mention some variables over here. So at the time of run, you will provide what? You will provide the input to the variables. Suppose I need to deploy a web app. Now we are 10 members, and on daily basis, all the 10 members are deploying what? They are deploying web app for some client, some or the other client every day. So the pipeline should be unique for everyone. The variable should be changed at the time of run. So suppose there are 10 resource groups. Now, one engineer is deploying in one resource group. He will be providing the resource group name, the subscription. Other engineer is deploying into another subscription and another resource group. So he will be mentioning that. Third engineer is deploying into third resource group for third user. So you have to mention the variables which can be read from the pipeline, and value should be given at the time of run. Okay, run pipeline. So it would be like
Okay.
that. Yeah. See, you can add variables from here. Okay. Got it?
Yes, yes, Abhishek. Got it. And the triggers, like whenever we are defining, whenever we are creating a pipeline, I have saw two triggers over there. Like one is the trigger which is written at the very top, and
Mhm.
inside the resources also there is one trigger.
So you
So
have to
both,
define the path na, from where the resources are triggering.
okay, so both the triggers having different function, or like if any one trigger we define, it will work, or
And
how?
whatever will be executed first, that will go first.
Oh, that's not okay.
Yeah.